Last time on Dave 2018. After months of frustration, Dave finally landed himself a car.
Well, you're not very pretty, or much to look at, much like myself. The world underestimates us. Hell, I'll go as far as to say the world doesn't believe in us. But you see, you and I, we're gonna do great things together. We are gonna turn this whole thing around.
A girl that Dave has been chasing on and off for 2 years made a surprise return.
And as for you, you are on notice.
And now, the continuation. My astrological sign is a Pisces, and that has always been fitting for me. Because you see, I am the dreamer. I remain so even as the harshness and realities of life seem to push my dreams further and further away. Even as I've been beaten down by the less than stellar turns my life has taken, I still find myself looking up at the stars and imagining that I could grab one. I didn't get a job at Dunkin' Donuts to go there and grow weeds. I did not intend for it to be my final resting place. It was intended initially as a placeholder job. When I started there, I was working at a radio station, where I hoped I would eventually end up in a bigger and better job. That never quite happened, mainly because of my tendency to shoot myself in the foot. My anxiety problems is what I had to thank for that, something I did not quite understand at the time. And then my intentions were to only stay there as long as it took me to get my degree, which I finally did in 2015, just as my life was going up in smoke. My life has been a disaster ever since. But from the ashes of my broken marriage and my broken life, I learned some things about myself. Things that I hoped would eventually help me get back on my feet, and maybe make it so that I would never end up in this position again.
You can do it. You can get your life in order. You can do this. You are the man. You are the Corminator. You can get the girl. You can go and get jobs. You can get your life together.
Daddy, who are you talking to?
Well, Jules, they say that talking to oneself is a sign of intelligence.
Really?
Yeah, we'll go with that. do this thing.
So happy, bring down the government. They don't speak for I'll take a quiet life.
Not much longer. Now that I had finally landed my car, the sky was the limit, and it was just in time for summertime. I could go anywhere, do anything. And I certainly took advantage of my newfound freedom.
Damn, Steven, she makes fun of you every single time.
You know what? I'm starting to suspect that my boss secretly hates me. With my car up and running, I went to visit my Uncle Arnold with Julia.
Yep, he still lives here. That one.
He hadn't yet moved to Florida.
He still brings it up.
And of course, I couldn't quite resist going to see my old room. And then there was Crystal, who had re-entered the picture. I ended up having a conversation with Steven about it, because frankly, everybody else was gonna think I was nuts.
Yeah. I've gone through this, like, more than a few times now. And I'm probably stupid for getting back into it, thinking maybe this time I can make things work. But the fact is, I'm crazy about the girl. No matter how much time goes by without seeing her, like every time I see her, feelings just come flooding back. And I can never really be mad at her for her disappearing acts because I understand. Like, I have similar issues, not the same, they're not as extreme, but like, I understand. It's frustrating and it hurts every time. In the end, I can't really be mad at her. And in the end, really, it's not just her issues that sing things. Like, I have my own issues. I'm basically an insecure, crazy person. You know, I have depression issues, and anxiety, and I'm just as likely to blow things up as she is. But I do have to wonder, like, what's gonna be different this time? Like, but I think I have an answer. Like, I think this time, I'm not gonna be relying on messaging or text messaging. I'm just gonna go and see her. So if she starts going quiet, I'm just gonna drop in. And I'm gonna keep doing that until she either flat out rejects me, puts a restraining order on me, or kills me. Either way, it'll be an ending.
Meanwhile, at work, people were dropping like flies.
Okay, the last time I'm working with you. My God, Christine's leaving me.
First it was Christine, and then it was Brandon. I was sad to see them go, but I assumed that my time was coming. And then this happened.
kidding me with this?
My car would not start. It was just making this horrible screeching sound. I texted Crystal telling her I was about to cry. She told me not to worry. It was probably just a starter. But then this situation led to something surprisingly good. It led to the first time me and Crystal hung out outside of her job. We got the kids together, Lex and Julia. It was a fun time, and I hoped it would lead to more. And then came Father's Day, which Adam decided to celebrate by taking me, Julia, Stacy, and Hayla out to see a Yard Goats game.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the whole team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Green and blue.
Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the whole team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball.
What I did last night when I was scared of a dream.
You went into the bathroom and turned on a light?
No.
They expected us to provide balls. Well, we have those. We have the game balls. Yeah. You want to get in on this? Honey, use your hand, not the glove. I want to do it here too.
Welcome back to another video. That's Stacy. Adam. See? See? Adam.
I guess the desire to make videos runs in your family.
I'll have to give her a credit next time.
To my butt. And me, my face, my own face. Adam's face. That's Adam's face. Stacy's face. Daddy's face. Adam's arm.
It was now the 4th of July. I went with Adam and Stacy, and of course Hayla joined us. Crystal and her kids were potentially going to join us, but that never quite worked out. I admitted to being kind of bummed about that. You couldn't help but feel a little bit like history repeating itself. And that was the point where everything started to fall apart. A mechanic came to replace my starter, and it still wouldn't start. A second mechanic entered the picture. He diagnosed my car with a manifold gasket problem. It took me weeks to get the parts, and it took him hours to try to repair the car. And still, nothing. I was forced to conclude that the car I spent so much time trying to get was a lemon. This car was not my salvation. It was not the solution to my problems. It was just another door slammed in my face. It was weeks before the deadline was approaching that I was supposed to be out of my boss's house, off her couch, and into my own place. Nearly 8 months into 2018, and I was nowhere. And in danger of things getting worse, which is impressive given my already crappy situation. My mental health was declining. I became moody and snappish and mean at work. Crystal was again fading from me, though this time it wasn't clear to me who was the one doing the walking. This time I thought it might just be me. I knew if I went to visit her at Subway, that things would be alright again. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Not this time.
It was my disappearing act, and this time I thought it would be for good. I thought before I had gotten my car that I had reached rock bottom, but nope, this was definitely it. I had never felt more alone, and I didn't help myself by isolating myself from everyone. The girl that I was completely crazy about was gone, and this time it was my doing. I had no car. I was out of time, out of money, and for the first time that I could recall, I was out of hope.